Now, when it comes to the totem pole of Alien movies, Alien 3 is not exactly top tier. In fact, it's more than likely sandwiched between Alien Resurrection and Prometheus, assuming you can even count that, really.
But considering when it was released, naturally there was a whole slew of video games based upon it. So, in this episode, we're going to check out the Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis versions.
I call the Super Nintendo version.
Sega has my money.
Alien 3 for the Super Nintendo was developed by Probe Software and published by, oh god, LJN. Alright, now hold on. We know that LJN was the retro game whipping boy. But hey, let's give them a chance. Who knows? We might actually come up with something good. I mean, hey, one can hope, right? The opening presentation of the game is actually quite good, beautifully detailing the opening sequence of the film. Though I do think it goes on a tad too long. But hey, you can always just press the start button to bypass it. The game is a shooting platformer that is broken up across 6 stages. The levels function as labyrinths with multiple sections linked by tunnels and ladders. Kind of like an ant colony. Hey, go watch National Geographic sometime, you'll see what I mean. Throughout the layout, you will come across doors that will lead to different sections, like cell blocks, medic labs, outside areas, and the like. Now each level has a list of missions for you to accomplish, and to access them, you must find these interactive terminals. Kind of like in Super Metroid. At these terminals, you can select which mission you want to do and look up the blueprints of the area. Now, since these are only the places that you can look them up, you may find yourself reviewing these blueprints a number of times so that you can commit them to memory. Once all of the missions are completed, you can then move on to the next stage. Now, the missions on each stage may have different wording, but they are pretty much all the same things, such as repairing equipment, fetch quests, rescue prisoners, eliminate xenomorph eggs as well as the queen, general stuff like that. You are also free to accomplish them in any order you see fit. Now here's a tidbit of information for you. The levels are packed with xenomorphs, which does make sense. In the movie, there was only one, not counting the one that busted out of Ripley's chest in the end, spoilers. So for the game, they loaded up with them. You have the face huggers, dog-sized ones, ox-sized ones, and the big queens. There are different colored versions of them with different abilities and strengths and levels. For example, the brown face huggers just scatter about, while oh my god! Alright, maintain composure here. As you progress through the game, you will come across some enemies that will take quite a bit of your ammunition to take down. Speaking of ammunition, Ripley carries around one of the coolest guns ever. This thing is like a freaking Swiss Army knife. It can fire bullets, it's a flamethrower with multiple variations, and good old-fashioned grenade launchers. However, none of them are unlimited, and you will have to go around and find them scattered about. The same goes with health packs. Fortunately, when you leave a room and re-enter it, those items will respawn. Speaking of which, the enemies also respawn. And in some areas, oh boy, it can get very hectic. And at some points, it's almost even instantaneous. And before you know it, you can be out of firepower quickly, and suddenly your chances of survival just went up creek. Every time you take a hit, your health bar will flash over your head and you will lose a percentage. Once it gets down to the 20s, it's going to start flashing. And once it reaches 0, well, you can guess what happens. And yep, you go back to the start. Yeah, it's one of those one life no continues games. The game does have a password system that you can access at the start of the menu with the continue option. When you enter the correct password, you can access any of the levels in the game. However, it will be at the start of the mission. So fret not, there is some relief there. Not much, but some. Now, as the game goes along, it really starts to get challenging, as if it wasn't bad enough, right? With all the backtracking, swarms of enemies, and the potential of running low on gunfire, this game can get very difficult to beat. You might want to have a Game Genie on standby. Another thing that's worth mentioning is the positioning of your character. When she runs, she is a bit too close to the edge of the screen for my liking, which again can leave you open to take a few cheap hits. The graphics, for the most part, do a fine job in capturing the depressing atmosphere of a prison block, as there are sections in the game that do look like they were ripped out straight of the movie. However, it is rather comical to see some of the prisoners so chill in the background. What, an alien invasion? Whatever. One big criticism we have is for Ripley's character design. It could have been way better, especially in the face, or lack thereof. Fortunately, the controls are implemented much better. She has an array of moves which include not only running, but walking in a crouch position, a moon jump, girl got hops, and the ability to point your gun in multiple directions, up, down, diagonal left, diagonal right, while on crouch mode and on ladders. The Super Nintendo game is a competent outing. Nothing special, but nothing really bad either. It's a challenging one, so if you do decide to pick this game up, be ready to grind, or you will be facing a game over. Game over, man.
The same suspects behind the Super Nintendo version, Probe Entertainment, also took on the Sega Genesis one as well. However, even though it is a side-scrolling shooter, the Sega Genesis take on Alien 3 is quite different. As the game starts, you can explore the option menu. You can choose up to 9 lives, which you should. Trust me. You can also adjust difficulty settings, controls, and preview the music and sound effects. The game itself contains 12 mission levels. And what do they involve? Running around, rescuing trapped prisoners, and escaping the level in a specified time limit. That's it. Rinse and repeat. Yeah, repetitive much? So every level contains platforms, ladders, and tunnels for you to crawl through. Every area is infested with xenomorphs, primarily fast ones that move on all fours, or bigger ones that move slower but take a lot more abuse. The thing with these enemies, well, two things, is that they move really fast and they pop out of nowhere. Because of this, more often than not, you will take plenty of hits. Another way to take damage is by falling a great distance. Falling damage. Other enemies include the good old face huggers and guardians. In addition, the positioning of the character is again a little too close to the front of the screen. This really felt like a cheap way to take more damage. And another thing, those pesky enemies move so freaking fast to the point that it always seems like you're taking the hit first. You can lose a life by either your health reaching 0 or by failing to rescue all the prisoners, or failing to find the exit. Oh, and by failing to save the prisoners, you see the remainder get their chest busted open. Ouch. The time limit thing just gets to me. I do understand the concept behind it. You have to save the prisoners before it's too late, but with this, the key to succeeding is failing over and over and over again until you find where all the captured souls are and the exit, and commit it to memory. As for the weaponry, you have another all-purpose gun that can shoot bullets, missiles, and fire. And you can also toss some grenades. Each you can use to effectiveness in different situations. For example, using grenades are a great way to take care of enemies running up and down ladders. The controls are fairly functional. The 3-button layout control scheme features a jump, fire, and select button, which you can toggle through your weapons. Also, you will have a limited number of ammo, so you have to find item drops throughout the stage. Now, every once in a while, you can run to health packs and battery packs for the motion detector, which is on the upper right-hand corner of the screen. This indicates enemies as white dots and prisoners as red ones. How useful it is, though, is debatable, as usually when they're indicated on the tracker, they'll be just on the screen anyway. Graphically, the game looks fine. There's some goriness here and there, which is not surprising since this is Sega and they tend not to wimp out on things like that. And the character model of Ripley is more detailed here as compared to the Super Nintendo one. Hey, how about the music? Here's the thing about the game's soundtrack. It's nice, it's a good soundtrack, but it just doesn't really feel like Alien 3, you know? It's like you could put this music to any other game on the Sega Genesis and it would fit just fine. Not bad, just your typical Sega flair. Now in the end, this game is by no means horrible. I mean, there are a lot worse out there. This one just takes a lot of time to get into, and the constant timer ended up kind of working against it because it became a real annoyance. Nothing like finding all those prisoners only to have the time run out before you find the exit. There is fun to be had here, you just need to look past its flaws. Now neither game is a masterpiece, but they're not lost causes either. Personally, we prefer the Super Nintendo one for its atmosphere, more variety in missions, and the lack of a timer. But hey, that's just our opinion. Take it for what's worth.
Well, there you guys have it. That's our view on the Super Nintendo version and Sega Genesis version of Alien 3. Now, what were your guys' thoughts on these games? Did you ever play them? Are you interested in playing them at all now? What about the new Alien movie that's coming out? Are you guys excited for that one? Let us know in the comments below. We would love to hear your thoughts. But before you go, be sure to hit that subscribe button as well, and also check out some other stuff that's going to be coming up at the end of the video. I'm your host, William Morris.
I'm your co-host, Eugene Morris.
And here it comes! Hey guys, if you like that video, be sure to hit the thumbs up down there below. And if you want to see more, be sure to hit that subscribe button so you can keep up to date with all of our future uploads. And also, you might want to follow us on Twitter and Twitch, as we're constantly updating news on what's to come there and streaming. So if you want to be involved in the review making process by watching our streams, be sure to head over there to Twitch. See you next time, guys!